All right, welcome to Out of the Blue from the Block and Podcast Network, part of the Fan First Sports Network, the podcast that turns your beautiful Prius into a nightmare. I am Jared Stormer of the Block and Podcast Network and MazenBrew.com. With me, as always, is Andy Bailey, my hetero life mate of the same place and time. Andy Bailey, who's been getting really into hair metal and cooking shows recently. I don't know if I should be concerned or excited. How the hell are you, my friend?
Between that and the history of John Tyler, man, I have all my bases covered.
Yeah, I had a good user correct me. It was William Henry Harrison who died shortly after inauguration. John Tyler was his VP who took over. So thanks for that, Isaac. You got to keep us honest here.
Knows ball, succession, we'll work on it.
Yeah, the history of the presidents, although we will eventually do our presidential fight bracket. That's probably an off-season pod. But yeah, that's one we've had circled for a while.
We spent 3 hours one day post-pod and just talked about presidents and made a whole bracket. So it's got to come to the airways soon.
Yeah, and I just finished reading about Lincoln. He was a wrestler at 4 with that reach. He liked taking the fight to the ground. Apparently would just like wrestle staff members in the White House. You'd think he'd want to use that reach, get some jabs in there.
I know. Did Abe Lincoln invent jiu-jitsu? Is that where we're getting at?
I think so. Go ahead and you can quote us. Let's update the Wikipedia. Before we update the Wikipedia, let's touch the banner, get you caught up what you need to know. What you need to know, this is the last week for the Aiden Hutchinson jersey giveaway. I'll be honest, I'd like to see a little more. Folks. This is the last chance. No one's really run away with it yet. I reserve the right, if no one's like really separated themselves, to keep pushing this thing out until someone does. Someone's getting it eventually, but this is your week.
So funny. Just like, you know what? None of this impressed me. I'm going to keep it for myself.
I'm not impressed. I just bought myself an Aiden Hutchinson jersey. I love this for me. No, I'm kidding. Someone will get it this week, but would love to see some more. Like, send it to us, ootbsports23@gmail.com. You can just share our stuff on Instagram, on Twitter. We're on TikTok. Tony doing a great job on TikTok, running stuff over there. So just share it and get creative with it. Send it our way. And on Monday, we're going to pick a winner and announce on the Oklahoma podcast. So excited about that. Let's keep it pushing through there, though. This one's official. They appealed it. It's going to stick. Sounds like Jayshon Barham will be out until the second half against Oklahoma due to the targeting call last week against New Mexico. This is a major bummer. Not too surprising. They never want to admit that they're wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure John Mateer bet the over as soon as he got the news. I don't know. It sucks. I mean, if it's going to happen at one position group for Michigan, at least it's at linebacker, which is probably the deepest on the team.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just the first half. You had a banger of a tweet that comes second half, John Mateer better watch out because that pass rush is really going to settle in, particularly, after they've had a chance to kind of sharpen the iron a little bit, get their teeth sunk into this offensive line. I think Michigan, and we'll talk about it, this whole episode really focused on this Oklahoma matchup. I think Michigan, even without Barham, is going to be able to get after Mateer. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like having like the water boy at halftime, or like Dean Portman in like D3, the Mighty Ducks. Just
Dean
like
Portman.
Show up for the end of the game. Just a little extra juice in the second half, or a spark if the team needs it.
Yeah. What was it? Gary Bertier? Was that the linebacker from Remember the Titans?
Yeah, the crippled one.
Well, all right. Well, maybe the one that could walk. What was that? Julius.
Oh, yeah, Julius Campbell.
Yeah, Julius Campbell. Come on, man.
That's what he was by the end.
At the end, he played a whole season, and he wasn't crippled, and he was awesome.
Yeah, he was. He was good. Then he was at paraplegic Olympic shot putter. So,
that's
gold
amazing.
medalist. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the stat that you came up with from that Remember the Titans team? You hit me with that the other day, and I was like flabbergasted. Didn't they allow like no points in like 6 straight games?
Yeah, they like killed all of their opponents. Like the championship game portrayed in the movie was actually a regular season game. That was their closest game. They won the championship like 44-0 or something. Just destroyed everybody in their path. Like the real story is somehow even better and more dominant than the movie.
Yeah, but they had to like make some adversity or else you can't get a Disney movie out of it. Yeah, I'm with you. That's crazy stuff. Let's keep it pushing here. Sounds like both Rodmore and Hogan Hansen could play. We're not going to know probably until right before kickoff. Is there one? I mean, obviously you're going to choose Rodmore here.
No, I'm not.
But you're going to choose Hogan Hansen. You think we need him more?
Don't play Rodmore in this game. It's his first game in It's first game in 18 months. We saw Rodmore be out 3 weeks in 2023 and come back for Rutgers and immediately miss a tackle and just be a step slow. He's been out for 18 months. He's not ready for this game yet. Like, he could be there like mentally, but physically, Central Michigan is next week. Get him ready for that one. If he was ready for Oklahoma, he should have played against New Mexico just as like get like acclimated again, get his feet back underneath him. Do not throw him into like a boiling pot of water against Oklahoma and say go cover. I just think that's a recipe for disaster.
That's totally fair. I guess I should have rephrased the question. Obviously, we could use him, need him more. Like, I think the secondary in this game is going to be tested more so than our run defense. But are we getting 85% of Rod Moore? And like, how rusty are you going to be after that much time off? All fair points there. So Hogan Hansen probably more likely. And that's less important because you're tight end number 2, technically tight end number 3 with Bredesen out there. So you can work him in here and there and spot situations. And I think that's a little less glaring.
Yeah, I think having Hansen back, though, just gives you some more flexibility with like your formations, position groups, and take some of the wear and tear off Marlon Klein. Because as we've seen with tight ends over the last few years, they can wear down and get injured. Often do.
Yeah, we might have been wrong about Hogan Hansen over Marlon Klein, too.
We'll see. It's been a game. Let's settle down. We will see.
We're a 12th of the way through. 12th of the way through.
If we extrapolate Hogan Hansen's stats, he's going to have 0 catches.
Nothing. If we extrapolate Hogan
this year.
Zeros across the board with the extrapolation game. What's your counter argument to that?
I got nothing.
This one, not Michigan. Well, I guess it will be, but a source confirms to On3 Sports. I've seen a couple of other sites also report this. FBS Oversight Committee voted in favor of a one-time only portal. This would be a 10-day portal starting January 2nd. No spring portal, no 30 days. It's a pretty big change for the player move-in era should this go through. Your thoughts?
We just keep getting dumber. Like, how do we have the right decision in front of us and we just take the wrong path? It's like, okay, you can go right or left and we just drive in the river. Like, how do we get here? Like, just put it in the spring. Just put it in the spring, make it 10 days, leave it there. But you're going to put it right in the middle of the college football playoff and penalize the most successful teams in college football? That's just stupid.
Yeah. I like the idea. The timing is terrible. Very dumb. This should happen in the spring. Yes to one portal. No to the time. Like, I don't understand. Is there no one that watches football on the FBS committee?
It's what it feels like. It's honestly like you're building like a sandwich. Like, okay, I got the bread, I got some meat, I got cheese, and put some dog shit on top. There we go. Then we'll serve it up. It's like, why couldn't we just finish this? Make it 10 days in the spring and leave it there.
It's like you put a piece of bread on the bottom, your meat, your cheese, and at the top, you're just like, here's some shoe leather. It's like, you were so close. Just finish it. Yeah, it is dumb.
I just don't get it, man. But I mean, I guess it's a step in the right direction. So it's not just unlimited free agency twice a year, but whatever.
I'm with you, man. Let's get to the mailbag. Had quite a few good mailbag submissions here. Appreciate everyone that wrote in. Already mentioned Isaac correcting me on my presidential lore. Very important stuff there. Robert, who wrote in with a really great question. I think we'll have to wait until next week to get to it because it's very in-depth, but certainly appreciate that. Josh Hunley wrote in, what's our barometer game, our measuring stick game? It's this week. I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but this week has always been the barometer for me, and particularly where it falls in the season. I want to see where we're at. Now, a couple things here or there, like Bryce Underwood, I don't expect to be the best version of Bryce Underwood that we're going to see at any point this season, but certainly not in week 2 against Oklahoma. I think by about week 6 or 7, you're going to have a pretty good idea of what Underwood is this season. And then Rod Moore coming back, Hogan Hansen getting back, some injury variation here or there. But for the most part, I think that this game this week is the barometer.
Yeah, very similar to Michigan, Texas last year. Like, it's not the barometer for the whole season, but at least for the first half of the year, you're going to get a good gauge of who this team is.
I'm with you. From Patrick Halloran, wondering why we didn't run the ball more, then said maybe I answered my question with the Bryce Underwood needing to get some reps. You did answer your own question, Patrick. In my opinion, at least, I think this was about time on task for Bryce Underwood. You've got Oklahoma coming up this week at Brett Venables' defense, who nobody likes to get after the quarterback more than Venables. So I think that you needed to get him reps, time on task, get him comfortable running the offense. Love that he got to run a 2-minute drill and do so successfully, things like that. Every rep is extremely valuable when you're starting a true freshman. So yeah, we probably could have won by 35 if we just ran the ball more, but you got to get Underwood time on task. And we weren't, you take out those big runs, we weren't exactly gashing them play in and play out, to be honest. So I prefer to see the balance personally.
Exactly. I like the balance. I believe this team had 32 rushing yards, 31 passing attempts, 32 rush attempts, 31 pass attempts. So they want to have that balance throughout. Like maybe sometimes I'll have more dominance in the passing game or the running game, depending on the opponent. But this game was all about getting Underwood comfortable.
Couldn't agree more. So yeah, Patrick, that was what that was all about. And I think this week they're going to want to be balanced as well. I mean, we're going to talk all about it. If they can get the run going and get that established against Oklahoma, certainly you could see more of the run, but very likely, unless you come up against, like an injury or something, you're not going to see like the Penn State 32 straight runs. That was an abnormality, which is great because, it gives you that one shining moment to point to. Like, remember that? You don't want that happening week in and week out. That would actually be kind of a boring product.
Yeah, that would just be a Service Academy offense, which we had last year and won 8 games. So
yes. Last mailbag question from Great Name Lewis. Gotta love it. What a submission. Said, it's been a while since we did a what the hell is going on. Brother, say less. We're going to use yours. What the hell is going on with watching football? Why can't it be more simple? Why do I need to have 14 different streaming services? Why do I need to pay, if I'm watching NFL, $1,700 per season to watch every NFL game? My God in heaven. YouTube TV and Fox did come up with an agreement. It's a temporary agreement. Let's see if it sticks for next year. But look, guys, we just want to watch football, and everyone's up in arms about the red zone stuff, about how there's going to be commercials. They will eventually push the football faithful too far, and you're gonna lose us. I can't believe I need to have Peacock and Fubo and Flurby and all this stupid shit. It's ridiculous. I just want to watch my games. Just give me my programs. End of rant. But what the hell is going on?
just go back to cable. Like this didn't work
Seriously.
out. Streaming didn't work out. Let's just go back to cable. We had it so simple and we screwed it up.
Yeah, it was so clearly the better option. And to think we complained about it, but bring it back. Now we know what the alternative is. Bring cable back and you won't hear me complain. I mean, we'll find other stuff to complain about. Don't get me wrong. I love me some complaining, but it won't be about the ability to watch football. Thank God I'm college over NFL, because that NFL stuff, like if we were covering the NFL and I had to drop $1,700 to watch Tampa Bay, Carolina, I'm going to lose it.
And just let me say, the 4-screen on YouTube TV, as long as it's still working with Fox and the deal is in place, is better than Red Zone. Just going to say it. It's better than Red Zone. It's just so much better. Saturday's better. College football's better.
Yeah, it is better because you can actually follow the context of the game. You can choose which game has the audio. And yeah, you can actually have some idea of what's going on situationally, where we're at in the game. You can hear some of the commentating. Yeah, I prefer it. The 4-screen is wonderful. My only concern is that I just need to maybe get an 80-inch TV in order to make the 4 screens the size of like an average man's television. I think it's time.
Also, I like the different commentators, like bouncing around networks. So what's his name? Scott Hansen for Red Zone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need him all day, like a couple
Isn't
hours.
That the To Catch a Predator guy?
I'm not going to comment on that, but he's just, I just don't need him for that long. Like, I love bouncing around the different crews because, like, if one crew's getting on your nerves, like, okay, I'm going to listen to Grambling Ohio State game now, turn into that barn burner just for like a change of pace.
Which game were we all watching with Joe Tessitore doing handfuls of cocaine? Like,
that game
Joe
was
Tessitore is
awesome.
a madman. That was one of the better ones. Was that Baylor?
Is Baylor
Oklahoma?
Auburn?
Baylor Auburn, I meant. Yeah. I think it was Baylor Auburn.
I think
it
was. He was fantastic.
He was great, yeah. And like, look, if it requires that much cocaine to get through the broadcast, go for it, Joe Tessitore. Like,
it was awesome. Like, it was, I don't know, it's kind of like he was getting on Gus's corner a little bit.
A little bit there, yeah. Oklahoma versus Michigan in Norman this weekend. I am very excited, man. We've been excited for this one since the off-season spread, looking like it's about 3.5, 4.5. I've seen up to 5.5, depending on where you look. Most people think it'll be within a score, though, which generally makes about sense to me because you listen to both Oklahoma writers, Michigan writers, and then general beat writers and folks that talk about this contest. And they see it similarly to the way we see it. Like, there's some strengths where we have strengths that they don't, and the way it matches up is very, very intriguing, man. So where do you want to start with this matchup?
I think we should start at the top, man. I think the biggest storyline coming into this game is the quarterback position for Oklahoma with John Mateer.
Yeah, John Mateer coming over from Washington State with their offensive coordinator last week. Looked pretty good, I would say. But again, this is against Illinois State. Pretty basic game plan. He was 30 of 37, 392, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. He ate him up over the field, hitting wide receiver Deion Burks out of the slot. Starting to get some real good chemistry built up with what's his name, Keontez Lewis as well, the other receiver. So he looked good. We expected him to look good against Illinois State, though. This is a dramatic step up in competition for him, and not just for last week, but for what he's seen. Last year, Washington State not in a real conference. So he had the cupcake schedule of all cupcake schedules last year. So I am fascinated to see how John Mateer looks stepping up against this Wink Martindale defense.
And if nobody's seen him play before, he is super exciting to watch. I mean, when he's not going against your team, that is. I mean, Mateer is an old school gunslinger who wants to take chances, push the ball down the field, will throw into tight windows, will throw into no windows, kind of like that old school, like Brett Favre a little bit to his game. And he is also deceptively mobile. Can get out and run. Like he's like a thicker guy. Like he's not very tall, but he's built very thick and stout and will get out on the edge and make plays happen. Todd McShay had a great quote about him saying every play is a fire drill with him, for better or for worse. Sometimes it can just be chaos for no reason. And sometimes he makes magic happen and other times it's kind of a blunder.
Yeah, a little bit of Baker Mayfield, Garrett Nussmeier in his game because of that ability to run a little bit, but also get out of the pocket and just chuck it. Yep. Last year at Washington State, pretty good numbers overall. 65% of his passes for 3,100 yards, 29 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions, but does have a tendency to put it into tight coverage. And against Michigan, that coverage is going to be tighter. Like Washington State last year, there wasn't really tight coverage because guys were just running open. You could scheme guys open. No problem with that whatsoever. Very interested to see how that looks against Wink Martindale. And Wink Martindale, his ability to get pressure on Mateer, I think, is one of the biggest keys to this game. Mateer under pressure, different kind of quarterback. Their tackle situation, something we've been monitoring very, very closely. They got one freshman there, and then I believe their right tackle is the projected right tackle, and then the left, I might have that backwards there, but one of their starters not going to be available, and the other one is at tackle. So it'll be fascinating to see what he looks like under pressure as well.
So tremendous point. And that goes back to last season. He said Mateer completed 65% of his passes, but that dropped to 60% when blitzed and 47% when under pressure from 4 rushers. So if Wink can get home with 4 and throw some weird looks in the back end, it's going to make life hell for Mateer. Very similar to, I had a point in here about it's kind of like the ReliaQuest Bowl. That's kind of the game plan you want to have against Mateer, where you want to keep him in the pocket with 4 guys, have coverage behind him, and then force him to try to do things like Jalen Milroe had to do and get him in harm's way, get him to force the issue and try to be the star of the show. And that offensive line in front of him, man, you were having trouble with the names because everybody has trouble with the names. I read through like 6 different articles from Oklahoma beat writers, and they were naming them. Michael Fasusi is the highly touted true freshman left tackle who didn't play last week, supposed to play this week. Derek Simmons is the experienced right tackle, has not started a game yet this year, supposed to play this one at right tackle. They had injuries all over the place during their game last week. The Jacob Sexton, who is at guard, moved to tackle, is going back to guard. All of that to say, it's a revolving door of madness. I have no idea what 5 is going to trot out there, but they're going to have their hands full trying to communicate this Michigan pressure.
Yeah, it was difficult trying to figure out who we're going to see. Likely will see a freshman left tackle making his first start against Wink Martindale, Derek Morton, TJ Guy. So I do feel pretty good about that. We know that part. Think that, Derek Simmons should be back. They lost Jacob Sexton. Yeah, it's just a mess, man.
It's a mess.
It's hard to figure out what it's going to be. And if they lose anybody in this game, you're down second, potentially third stringers on your offensive line against this Michigan defensive line. And I think that bodes well for Michigan's ability to only rush 4 and keep Mateer contained, as you were just alluding to. Like, I think Derek Moore and TJ Guy are going to be not only hugely important, I think hugely impactful in this game. Their ability to get home is going to be massive.
What's crazy, though, is granted, it's Illinois State. They were good in pass pro in week 1, despite all the turnover and who was out there. What they struggled with was running the football. I mean, it was a weird rushing game in week 1 for them. 32 rushes for 103 yards, 3.2 yards per rush. Jade Knott only played in the 4th quarter. I believe it was a total of like a handful of snaps. Word is he's going to be 100% now. 1 snap.
-3 yards.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't understand that, but the rumor is he's going to be 100% ready now. So he's going to be a weapon in this game, but I don't know how that's going to impact the offensive line, the production, and everything else going on.
Yeah, 1 carry, -3 yards. Let's go ahead and extrapolate that. He's on pace for, what is that, -36 yards?
-36 yards, less than John Tyler.
William Henry Harrison, please
Yes,
get it right.
correct.
We've been corrected. But yeah, Jaden Ott was supposed to be a big part of this running game. And the fact that he didn't play last week, comes in, doesn't look effective. Granted, it's one carry. Anybody can look bad on just one carry. I don't know if I'm expecting Jaden Ott to be the guy in this one. They went to the backup in this, and it was Torrey Blaylock, who they feel good about. Eight
He got
carries,
hurt.
44 yards. And then he gets hurt. And then the second leading rusher is John Mateer. And then after that, it's a bunch of like Deion Burks was running the ball for him. He's a wide receiver, mind you, out of Michigan. And I don't know, man. I don't think that this running back room, other than Jaden Ott, is really that deep or impressive. And then you couple that into the fact that it's a new offensive line, and we don't know who's going to be starting on this offensive line. This run game is suspect, and I think I'm being kind.
It is, and I think that was why the offense was so volatile last week. I think a lot of people, if you just saw the highlights, it looked unstoppable. They only scored 35 points in this game. So they had 5 scoring drives, but they had 4 drives that lasted 3 plays or fewer in this. So, I mean, it was very feast or famine throughout.
Yeah, I would argue that Michigan's victory over New Mexico, while not as lopsided, extremely similar. You take out the turnover and, you add, a couple field goal here or there that we definitely could have gotten. And it's not that dissimilar. Both teams blew them out, didn't want to show too much, including the victory formation, as you mentioned, 5 touchdown drives, 4 drives of 3 plays or fewer. I think it was very similar outputs from both teams against lesser competition. Also, New Mexico, book it, better than Illinois State.
Yeah, I mean, a Mountain West school is better than an FCS school.
Yeah, I'm with you. They also had 2 turnovers. Mateer threw an interception.
Yeah.
Bryce Underwood didn't do that. Bryce Underwood's like 4 years younger than John Mateer. There was also a fumble by converted tight end Jared Kanak, forget how they pronounce that one, but they're really high on him. He's super athletic, but he's coming over from linebacker, and he's like supposed to be a big part of this as well. So he's still kind of learning. Where do you stand on the wide receivers? I mentioned Deion Burks, the 5'9" slot guy. He was actually out of Inkster, went and played at Purdue and transferred. He was kind of one that I knew about coming in. Other than that, it was Keontez Lewis, who had 9 receptions, $119, 2 touchdowns. He's probably the main guy in Keontez Lewis, 6'2", a little bit bigger out of St. Louis. So what do you think about these receivers?
They look good against Illinois State. It's pretty much all I can say about that. But I will say Mateer will take shots down the sidelines in one-on-one coverage and just throw the ball up. Like he did it several times in this one. Like they will run fades like just down the sideline, and it's going to be a lot of Jair Hill, Zeke Berry trying to make plays in this one. I expect it to be Jair Hill more so because of the struggles we saw last week. But Mateer's going to put it up there and let him try to go make plays. And against Illinois State, they're able to do that. So it'll be interesting to see how that translates over to much more difficult competition.
In my opinion, if Oklahoma's going to win this game, it's going to be here. They're going to have to take advantage of their receivers, their pass catchers against our secondary. You and I graded the secondary, particularly the cornerbacks, pretty low last week. I don't think that that's indicative of who they are as a unit. I think that they'll step up. I think that also Wink Martindale is going to show dramatically more as far as blitzes and mixing up coverages and things like that in this game that he did last week. But if Oklahoma is going to win this game, it's going to be John Mateer picking us apart in the secondary with Deion Burks and Keontez Lewis, and just putting a few more points on the board than we can manage to match. I think that that's their path to victory.
I think it's that. And I think it's RPOs with Mateer. Just because you want to get Houseman coming downhill, and then especially if Barham's out, who was our best coverage linebacker in week 1, you get Houseman coming downhill, and then you pull the ball and you take the shot in the middle where we've been weak in that little hook curl area. It's like you exploit those weaknesses where the guys have just been garden grass and not attaching to defenders, and you do that. That really slows down this front, really slows down the pressure, and allows Mateer to control the flow of the game. So even if he doesn't throw it, he can hand it off, or he can pull it and run around the edge.
Is that something you see Ben Arbuckle, their offensive coordinator, came over from Washington State? Is that something you've seen out of him in the past? Yeah. Now, granted, we didn't watch a lot of Washington State last year.
Yes. I mean, he'll do some creative things, man. He likes to flip the running back post-snap, which sounds very basic, but a lot of defenses align their fronts based on where the running back is positioned. So if he flips post-snap, the defense could be at a disadvantage and out-leveraged. And that changes up gap assignments, gap discipline, and can easily gash a good defense. He also ran a 2-quarterback look in 2023. I saw on tapes. I mean, he'll throw some just crazy stuff out there if his offense needs a spark. I think he's only like 29.
Yeah, he's a young dude. It's crazy how some of these guys are. Granted, we're getting older now to where it's the point we're like, wait, why is this coordinator younger than me? But It's the way it is. Any other thoughts about the Oklahoma offense?
No, I'm fascinated on this offensive line. Like we're going to talk about their defensive line as well, but the trenches in this game, as they are in every game, but really in this one, are going to be critical.
Especially so in this game. I mean, it is something. It's literally, I haven't decided my outcome for this game yet because we just found out about what this offensive line is going to look like. And I said last week, I was like, I'm considering taking Michigan because of that.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, man. Our defensive line versus their offensive line. On paper, we should have a pretty sizable advantage there.
Yeah. And it's so hard. I mean, both teams, like you made the great point that it's very similar week one performances where vanilla game plans, vanilla defenses. And it's like, okay, who was showing more, who actually has more like deep in the holster that they're waiting to pull out for this game.
Yeah, and I'm sure that they have stuff that they didn't show as well.
Yeah.
I have to imagine. I mean, Venable's been around for a while. Not sure that I have a tremendous amount of respect for him as a head coach. As a DC, sure, but as a head coach, he's still got to earn that. But I have to imagine he's got some stuff that he's itching to unleash this week that wasn't in there. And Arbuckle probably even more so.
I don't know if you heard, Brent Venable's calling the defense.
Yeah, it's been mentioned. It has been mentioned. Before we get into our offense versus their defense, let's take a quick commercial break. All right, we are back. We are righteous men. College football is very good. Don't love that it's another night game kickoff. That's really jamming me up on my Saturday plans. You even more so, because I mean, by the time this game ends, it's midnight? Yeah. Eastern time, something like that. That's ridiculous.
Not great.
Not ideal. At least I'm Mountain time, so it's like 10:30. I can still, go out and meet someone for a victory celebration cocktail if need be. But let's get back to noon games as the Lord intended. The older I get, the more I get on your side there. At least this one's like a big marquee game. So I mean, I see why you do it. There's no reason for New Mexico to be at night, but I digress. Let's get into the Michigan offense versus the Oklahoma defense. Last week against Illinois State, they only allowed 3. We allowed 17 against New Mexico, with the big caveat on that, as we discussed in last week's pod.
Oklahoma's defense against Illinois State. They only allowed 151 total yards, only 34 yards passing, which is impressive no matter who you play. But Oklahoma allowed 113 on the ground at 4.5 yards per rush. And there weren't any big runs to skew those numbers. And most of those came in the first half as Illinois State fell behind and had to abandon the run in the second half. So that has to be concerning for them coming into this one.
Yeah, on the other side, not much through the air for Illinois State. 34 yards. I'm pretty sure Bryce Underwood eclipsed that in one throw.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what we should make of that. I don't think Illinois State is known for being some pass-happy powerhouse there with Tommy Rittenhouse and Beckham Pellant, their quarterbacks. Sounds like a made-up name there. But this Oklahoma defense last year was pretty stout, man. I think last year that was definitely what they leaned on. They changed it up on defense to move Brett Venables in as the defensive play caller. Interesting call. I think that was like not when I watched Oklahoma last year, what I looked at as being the weakness. So this is a big test for them as well. Like for both teams, for both units, it's a massive, massive step up. And with Bryce Underwood, with what he showed, I think that they have to be not nervous, but they have to be like a little bit more prepared than maybe they were thinking when they heard freshman quarterback week 2. I think like when you watch Bryce Underwood last week, you have to be like, okay, there's some shit to him. Like we can't just sleepwalk through this on defense.
No, I think their game plan is going to be very simple. And like it was last year, I mean, again, I think the Venables move is more cosmetic than anything. Like, hey, I'm taking onus of this program. It's like, well, then go call offensive plays, Brent, if you want to impress me. Like the defense was just fine last season. So I think they're going to come in this game and just look to shut down the run. Like we know Venables likes to get his play calls in there late. He likes to be the voice in the headset, signal it whatever he can to get his guys in the best position imaginable. But they're going to look to sell out for this run and make Bryce Underwood beat him one-on-one with the weapons on the outside. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely. Last year, they allowed 21.5 points per game. Good for 29th scoring defense. Yep. Nothing wrong with that. Like nothing to scoff at there. And then their defense allowed 60% completion, 203 yards per game, about 1 passing touchdown per game. So, and then on the rushing game, 3 rushing touchdowns per game and 115 yards on the ground. So looking at this rushing defense, that's where I would like to start, because last year, a little bit of a concern, and I think it might still be a concern. And that has to be something that Michigan fans are circling.
Yeah, it looks that way on both sides of the ball, where the offensive line was a weakness last year, and it kind of looked a little bit weak against Illinois State. Same thing with defensive line. Now, they were good on third downs. They held Illinois State to 1 of 11. They were able to mix in some linebackers, do some sim pressures there. but they have to take away the run, and they want to do it with as little resources as possible so they can keep guys back in coverage and mix up those looks.
Yes. So you were mentioning, and I think it was a great point, that you take away the big runs for Michigan last week and struggled to get stuff going between the tackles. How do you see Michigan getting something going more consistent against what's inarguably a better defensive line?
I think they're going to add reads to their runs with Bryce Underwood be able to pull the ball. I think there was a red light on Bryce Underwood running the ball against New Mexico, and I think they're going to add just little tags. And when I say that, I just mean options. Like if he reads the defender on like a duo play inside, if that end just crashes like full cry, he can pull and escape on the outside. Just do it once. And that gives the defense something to think about, and it slows them down. And that's going to take one person out of the box and help these running backs kind of exploit it. Also, I think the Michigan offensive line is going to be a little more locked in. I think you got some good efforts early on, but I think a lot of this team coasted once they were up 17-0, kind of sleptwalk, looking ahead to Oklahoma. So I also think just that more preparation leading into this game, understanding the circumstances, they're just going to be a little sharper, a little crisper with their footwork and their hand placement.
Good points all. I would also like to bring up that against Navy, one of my alma maters last year in the bowl game, different defense, I get it. Navy ran for 226 yards, and quarterback Blake Horvath accounted for 155 of them in 2 touchdowns. The quarterback run will be unleashed this weekend. We will see it. They very intentionally did not use that against New Mexico. I think not only to keep him healthy, but to keep that in the bag and not give Oklahoma anything to look at, because with the way Venables has always called defenses going back to Clemson, that is something that you can really take advantage of, particularly with an overly aggressive defense. I think that the legs of Bryce Underwood will come into play in a big way in this game.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's going to be interesting to see how the linebackers for Oklahoma handle this. So Sammy, I'm going to mess up this pronunciation, Omasigo, he led the way with 8 tackles and a sack, but he wasn't even a starter. So, like, I think they're still in flux at that position as well, similar to the offensive line, working in starters, because they have to replace starting middle linebacker from last year and the safety, Billy Bowman. And it's like, okay, how is the eye discipline going to be when they're handling this? And they have a lot more eye candy coming at them in terms of shifts, motions, and now you're adding reads and tags onto every run. Like, there's going to be room for mistakes there. Like, I expect that to happen with an inexperienced defense, and that's one area I like that Michigan's defense has. At least it has the experience, and they have that communication factor. Maybe we need to see more of it this week, but like we have seen it before, while Oklahoma is still largely an unknown.
Their best defensive player by a long shot is going to be R. Mason Thomas, the defensive end. Only 6'1", but really athletic. I think it was Mensch on the Mensch podcast talking about how he thinks that that's an advantage for him against our little bit more stiff, bigger, built to run block tackles, like in pass protection. How does our Mason Thomas look getting around our tackles? That's something to keep an eye on as well. But against the run, there's nobody that you look at. There's certainly no Mason Graham, but there's also not like a Rayshon Benny or a Damon Payne that I look at in the center of this defense and think Michigan can't take advantage of that just with our straight up power duos, counters, like just with our base running game,
Yeah, that's why I think it's going to be kind of an overload. Like, I think they're probably going to show a lot of different looks to try to bait Michigan into running the ball and then sell out to stop it, and vice versa. Just try to keep the plays just unconventional, keep Bryce Underwood on the back foot the whole time, and when they can, put the onus on him to win the game. Like, okay, you're a true freshman quarterback. You had a good game against New Mexico at home. Now can you go on the road at Norman and carry a team to victory if we shut down the run?
If they can shut down the run, it's going to be up to Bryce Underwood to get this done with his arm. How do you feel about if Oklahoma, and if they do shut down our run, I think we're going to have bigger concerns because we just broke it down that this isn't the best defensive line we're going to face all year by a long shot. So I'll be a little concerned if we can't get some type of running game going. But should that happen and Bryce Underwood has to win this thing with his arm, what's your confidence level?
It's a tough ask. It's a really tough ask. I think a lot of it goes on the Chip Lindsey. I think it's up to him to take some of that off his young quarterback and put it onto his shoulders. And one way to do that is tempo. Start running tempo, mix in the run pass, even the RPO game, do that. Because we've seen Underwood pull those and be comfortable with it. And just keep the defense on the back foot. Don't give them time to set up, load the box, run the ball when they're not expecting it, catch them before they're set. And they've showed the ability to change it too. So like on the first possession against New Mexico, Michigan was all up tempo all the way till that Justice Haynes run. Next possession, they huddled up. And I think that's going to be very intentional in this game as well to keep Oklahoma guessing, keep them confused. So anytime they change strategy or get adjusted or used to what Michigan's doing, that's when you snap back and change it up on them.
Yeah, that's something that will look a little different than years past. I think tempo is going to be big in this one. And I know we want to win the time of possession battle. And if we get a lead, you might see more of that, of
Yeah.
Michigan kind of milking the clocks, particularly in the second half there. But I think against an overly aggressive Venables team that he likes to get the call in late, as you mentioned there, and he likes to bring pressure, and his whole thing is disrupting quarterbacks. He is not going to want to make this easy on Bryce Underwood. I can't imagine he's going to want Bryce Underwood having a lot of time to sit back in the pocket. I think it was Bumgardner who called out that the average time, or it might have been Jake Butt, the average time of throw for Underwood last week was like 2.3 seconds. That means he's making quick reads, quick decisions, getting the ball out of his hands. That bodes well against a Venables team because you are going to want to make those quick reads, quick decisions. So it's a great call out by you that Chip Lindsey's got to be dialed in for this. He's got to give him easy reads, and then Underwood has to know like who is likely going to be open, because Venables, as much as like he is a great defensive coordinator, he's not on Wink Martindale's level of like confusing you with different looks. He's not like that. So I mean, what you see, it's not quite what you get, but a lot of times it is.
Yeah. He wants to get home with 4. He's going to give you some different looks. He's going to sit back and play coverage, but he is aggressive by nature. Like you're not going to get the disguise like you talked about with Martindale. I mean, you even look back to some of those Clemson teams that won national championships. A lot of those were done in shootouts. Like he did what he could, but like you can get after him a little bit. And again, I think it'll be very important to just get him on the back foot with anything you can, make him think about different things with the quarterback run, the options, the quick throws, the long throws, and just having that variety, I think will make this defense very uneasy and just unsure of themselves. And that'll just take away that innate aggressiveness that Venables defenses want to play with.
Yeah. Another big piece of this, I think, will be a couple big plays in that I don't see this being some 35-34 shootout. 2 big plays could mean the difference in this thing. Getting loose in the running game, like 160-yard Justice Haynes breakaway could end up being the difference in this thing. Can you find a way to manufacture some big plays? Because he'll stay in front of you. I mean, they're aggressive, but they'll do a good job of keeping in front of you. They're not a defense that gives up a ton of big plays, despite being, last year in a lot of what they would call shootouts. They only allowed 21.5 points a game. So I think a couple big plays from our offense is going to be enough to tip the scales here. So how can you manufacture 2 or 3 big plays? Marlon Klein, Justice Haynes, Jordan Marshall, I think is going to play a bigger role in this one. We've got some game breakers. They obviously were trying to get Samaj Morgan going last week. I think that was intentional, and they think that he might have the speed to get by some of these cornerbacks and linebackers. So we've got the horses for it, but can Chip Lindsey and Bryce Underwood get the ball into those guys' hands and make something happen?
And I know I said that Michigan struggled to run the ball outside of those 2 runs, but those 2 runs did count. And it's like having those count. They still count. Having those 2 runs to put you over 200, having that explosive home run factor in the backfield, if 1 or 2 of those hits in this game, that may be all you need.
Yeah. And if we average 3.2 yards per carry all year, but still have 3 per game that go for 50 plus, I don't care.
No.
I don't really care how it averages out. I just want to make sure that we're running the ball, and however we get it done, if that's what it is, if it's body blow, and then the knockout punch to the head, I don't care. Whatever works. And in this game, it's not a must-have game because we're not in conference, but man, what would this do to come out and put belt to ass against Oklahoma? What would it do for the confidence of a young team?
This is such a primetime spot. Not only that, it is the college game day game. It's at night. It's in Norman. All eyes are on this game because the slate's a little weak this week. There's just not a ton of games to watch. So everybody's going to be focused on this one. So the storyline's either going to be Mateer is the savior, he's the Heisman front runner, or Bryce Underwood is the anointed one.
Yeah, that is going to be the talking point for sure, regardless of what happens. And Mateer, I'm hearing early Heisman buzz. They're saying he's the early favorite, which is insane after beating Illinois State.
Well,
but
Arch
early
Manning
season
was the
Heisman
favorite
polls are dumb.
a week ago.
I know.
Come
Boy,
on.
were they wrong on that one.
Yeah. And Mateer's exciting, don't get me wrong, but he's really going to have to win me over this week if we're going to put him there.
Garrett Nussmeier is the Heisman favorite right now.
I agree with that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Followed by Tommy Castellanos. That's the order. Debate a wall. Let's talk special teams here, brother. You had some good notes in here. I didn't do a lot on Oklahoma special teams, so I'm gonna
We're gonna lose
for you here.
We're gonna lose the third side of the ball. I'm just telling you that. So we're going to have to win offense and defense. For a return game, Isaiah Satenga, I think's his name, stud punt returner. He's an Arkansas State transfer. He averaged 16 yards per punt return against Illinois State. And it would have been higher, too, because he had like a 45-yarder called back due to a penalty. And they have the best punter in college football. I wanted him in the transfer portal. We couldn't get him. His name is Jacob Ulrich. Ulrich von Lichtenstein. The transfer from Kennesaw State. He had 2 punts last week with a 48-yard average, a long of 54, and 1 inside the 20. He's an absolute weapon, man. He's so good.
Well, this is terrible news. I hate all
it's
of
not
this
good.
that you just presented to me.
They're so good on that side of the ball. So for Michigan, I think a key to the game on special teams, don't be the reason we lose the game. That's make it simple.
That's it. Just let it go over your head if that's what it takes. Unless it's going to be down at the 2. Yeah.
Yes. Make it. Even if it's going to be down to the 2, at least you're not fumbling it.
Better than a turnover. Yeah. We can find a way to get out of there. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's terrible that it should come to that. But yeah, it definitely sounds like they'll have the advantage unless we take all of that stuff out of the game and there are no punt returns, no kick returns, and it just comes down to our field goal kicker. We still got the better one of those.
Still got the better field goal kicker, absolutely. So that's one thing we can rely on there. And like, I know we can do what we can in the return game, field position game to try to mitigate some of those losses. But it's a tall task, man. This is a well-coached special teams unit.
All right, I didn't prep you for this, but because of how interesting that discussion was, let's go position by position and tell me where the advantage is, all right?
Okay.
Quarterback.
Oklahoma.
Yeah. Offensive line.
Michigan,
pretty handedly, even though we don't love what we've got right now. It's still better, right?
Yeah.
At least we know what we have. Like,
exactly.
It just, 100%. Running back.
Michigan.
Wide receivers.
I'm going to say Oklahoma.
I'll say Oklahoma as well. Tight end.
I'm going to say Michigan.
I think that's Michigan.
Because their best one's a converted linebacker right now. I can't confidently say that. And he had a fumble.
Who just had a fumble. Yeah, exactly. Offensive play caller. Wash
for, yeah. I mean, you can lean Arbuckle because it's the sexy young pick, but also Chip Lindsey has years of experience. So I'm just going to go Wash for now.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with you there. All right, let's go to the defensive line.
Michigan.
Yeah,
Michigan.
I think Michigan. I think with a little less hesitation than you. Yeah, I got Michigan there. Linebackers, we only get half of Barham, so that factors into this. It's still Michigan. I do like their linebackers though. They got a couple pretty good ones in there. They're going to be flying around the field, but yeah, give me Michigan there, and then secondary. This is the one.
They had a freshman All-American last year, one of the corners. I can't think of his name. But it's so tough that just to be a prisoner of the moment and hold Michigan secondary to last week's performance and just say it's going to be that and like carry that in perpetuity. Just for the sake of argument, I'll say Oklahoma.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go Michigan. I think that Jair Hill is better than what he showed last week, and I trust everybody else. I trust Tillman. Mason Curtis has got to play better. We might not see as much of Mason Curtis because of how he played last week, but we've got a couple more guys that we can put in there that are answers. Do we know about Caleb Anderson's health yet? I've never been so excited for a guy I've never seen play football before. Boy, we could use him.
I know. No indicators yet. I believe we'll find out tomorrow when the injury report comes out. But yeah, Caleb Anderson, Shamari Earls, getting some of that healthy depth back there will be nice for a defense that still played 31 players against New Mexico.
Yeah, I will say that this is their biggest advantage is their quarterback and wide receivers versus our secondary for sure. And ours is our offensive line and running backs versus their defensive line.
Yeah,
that feels like the matchups.
Michigan outweighs them if you just look at it like that by position groups and everything else, and who in terms of who has the advantage. But they have the quarterback, and that's the biggest difference maker in sports. So it's like, can they carry it over at home at night in that atmosphere? That's the way they get there.
Yep, absolutely. They've got the home field advantage. I'd take Wink Martindale over Venables, particularly since Venables is doing double duty. And then for special teams, yeah, you would take their punting and punt returning and kick returning, but we've got the better field goal kicker. It's still not quite a wash, though, because we might freaking turn the ball over there.
Yeah.
So I'll give special teams to them.
It's Zavada does all he can to even that out, but they have us on everything else.
A lot of Zavada. I'm with you there. All right, let's talk keys to the game. Let's get some predictions and players of the game, brother.
All right, so offensive keys to the game. I've already touched on a few of these, so I'm not going to repeat myself. Tempo, get Bryce Underwood involved in the run game. But the last one I really want to hit is mitigate self-inflicted wounds. Michigan had 8 penalties in game 1. Oklahoma had 6. So I think whoever can lessen those in this one could really have a big advantage in a game that we kind of foresee as being close. So no pre-snap penalties, no turnovers.
Run the damn ball. Keep the damn ball. Run the ball, don't turn it over. Simplify things for Bryce Underwood. He doesn't need 250 in this one. $175, no turnovers will do it, in my opinion. So play a clean game. Let your defense win this one for you. I think 24 points would get it done in this one, and we can get to 24. We have a quarterback. We have a passing offense. The forward pass is not a foreign concept to us anymore. Can't give them anything else to go on, though. Or if you just want to play the Zavada game, then he had a freaking 70-yarder in practice. What do you need to get to the 40, your own 42? You don't even need to cross midfield and you're in Zavada range. Let's just play that game. We can do that all day.
If Zavada hits a 70-yarder here, we win special teams, okay? That changes everything.
For the season. We win it for the season. In perpetuity. Yeah, I'm with you there. What about on defense?
On defense, I have a few. Win first down. Michigan should be able to control the line of scrimmage, but put Mateer in 3rd and long, so that way you have him in an obvious pass situation. You can take advantage of his gunslinger mentality. Use that aggression against him. I think that's the theme on both sides of the ball. Use their aggression against them. Number 2, twist the front to get pressure. By that, I just mean stunts, move around. Don't just rush straight on man, 4 guys. Be creative, but when you're creative, be disciplined. Keep Mateer in the pocket. Make him force throws down the field. Very similar to the ReliaQuest Bowl like I talked about earlier. And key point number 3, no missed tackles. Keep everything in front of you. Be smart. Don't overplay it. Just be very calm. Make the right tackle. Don't be over aggressive, and don't fall into the trap we're trying to set for them. Last one, really for Ernest Hausman, maybe a little for Mason Curtis. Don't guard grass in coverage. If you're playing zone, find a man. Just stand close to them. Don't just, if it says on paper you're supposed to stand there and there's nobody within 10 yards of you, scoot to the right or the left. I beg of you, just do that. Attach yourself to somebody to take away a throwing lane. And if Michigan can do that, they're going to force a couple turnovers in this one.
Yeah, find a man. Good advice. I will say, number 1, make them feel you. To quote Don Brown, speaking specifically to our defensive ends hitting John Mateer. I couldn't believe how many hits the New Mexico quarterback took last week. It kept coming. Tough. Most quarterbacks are not coming back from that level of punishment. If you hit Mateer that many times, or even 60% of that much, I don't think that he's going to be able to finish this game out, or he's not going to be able to be the Mateer that we've seen previously. So hit him early, hit him often, should be able to do that with this offensive line that they're running out here. Derek Moore and TJ Guy, if you want to be NFL players, this is where that starts. You need to play better. Both of you, TJ Guy outplayed Derek Moore, but both need to be better than they were last week. I think both should be all-American, all Big Ten type of players. That was not what I saw last week. So along the defensive line, that should be a massive, massive advantage. I need it to look like that. I need it to look like they're getting blown off the ball every single play. I need pressure up the middle, because that is much more difficult to deal with, even for a gunslinger who can get out of the pocket like Mateer. Pressure up the middle will be also, and then if you got those guys winning on the edge, you've got them in an absolute pocket there. You've got them in an envelopment. So that will be big. You hit some great stuff there in the back end for Jair Hill. Stick to your man. Keep your confidence up, young man. We need you, not just for this game, for the season. Seems like it's a confidence thing with him. He has got to play better, and he's going to be tasked with at times going up against Burks and Keontez Lewis and some really strong wide receivers out there, and he has got to keep his man in front of him. And even if you can't break it up, don't let it go for a bigger play that it needs to be. Keep the big plays in front of you. Big plays in this game will be huge for both teams, because you got 2 strong defenses that like to keep things in front of them. And then again, force a couple turnovers. Mentioned it on the offense. I'm going to mention it on the defense. If we get what we got last week, where it's 3-1, we love this. I'd like to get 0. I'd like 3-0, but let's be reasonable here. We got a freshman quarterback. Our special teams are ass. We're probably going to turn it over against Venables' defense at some point, but create more than you give up and win the turnover battle. Create havoc back there, whoever that might be. Brandon Hillman, I'm looking at you.
Could be a big game for him
when you get back into this game. Yeah, Hillman, I've got my eyes on him. And then Barham, only a half a game, but man, can we get him to come out? Can we just parachute him in playing mini men? Bring him in on a sled pulled by oxen. And then I want them to know that Barham is back, and you're about to feel him, because he looked like the best pass rusher at times last week. Not at times. I thought he looked like the most explosive player on our defense for a lot of that game. So can't really overstate how important Barham's going to be in the second half of this game. And yeah, the ability to get after Mateer with all those guys, create havoc, create explosive plays, create turnovers, man. So let's get you want to do special teams play? piece of the game, we can.
I touched on one. I said, don't be the reason Michigan loses. But if you want more specifics and not just something so broad brush, eliminate one first down. The offense has to gain every return. Very simple. For kick returns, try to get to the 35. For punt returns, just try to get 10 yards. But for God's sake, just field the ball first. And point two is force their dangerous returner Satania to fair catch every punt he fields, if he fields them. Like, just eliminate that from the game. Take away that big play.
How about 9 field goal attempts from Dom Zavada? He'll probably get 8 of 9. You only need to get to your 40 of your own side of the field in order to be in his range. So that should be an easy win, right? 8 field goals ought to do it.
24, I think, gets it done. I mean, that could do.
Gets it done.
I would take 8 Bryce Underwood touchdowns first, but I mean,
Sure.
close second.
Yeah, I would also take that, but I'm being facetious here. I think you hit on everything there. Let's get your players of the game and prediction.
So players of the game, I will say if Jair Hill is a player of the game on defense, Michigan wins this game big. So if he has his best game of, it's hard to say career because that's kind of like a cop out, but if he has one of his better games, like the Jair Hill, the ReliaQuest Bowl, or like Ohio State, like that type of player, Michigan's going to be in good position. So my prediction is going to be Jordan Marshall and Cole Sullivan. I think Jordan Marshall's going to get going this week. Hard running between the tackles last week with not a lot of room. I think he's going to get after it. Cole Sullivan, I think he and Rolder are going to fill in nicely until Barham gets back. And I think Sullivan earned just kind of a bigger chunk of playing time with what he did in limited action against New Mexico. I think his role is just going to continue to expand, and he's going to be an absolute star next season. So I think he's kind of like the Barham heir apparent, kind of like in body type and playing style. So watching for him to have a big impact in this one. And although my football mind always tells me whoever wins the trenches wins the game, I don't like all this too much positivity around. I want to be the reverse jinx of this one. I'm going to say Oklahoma wins it 24-21. Takes us down because it's going to be too much for a true freshman quarterback on the road. Tier's going to make one more play. Our special team's going to make one more mistake. And then on Sunday, you can shove it in my face when I'm wrong.
Look, we predicted this one going to Oklahoma ever since the offseason, but that's before we really dug in, and we dug in this week. So I respect the reverse jinx aspect of it, though. Doesn't
Covering
necessarily
our bases
mean you
here.
believe it. Covering our bases here because I'm going to go on offense. Give me the offensive line. We going to allow that? Can we allow the offensive line as a pick, or do I need to pick a player?
No, that's tremendous.
I'm picking the offensive line because, look, we need to not only protect Bryce Underwood against serious pressure that Venables is going to be dialing up, but we have got to be averaging 3.5 to 4 yards a carry. That should be enough to just like keep Bryce Underwood protected, keep possession of the ball, keep your defense fresh, get to the 40-yard line where you're all of a sudden in Zavada range. So we don't need much out of the offensive line, but we need them to beat their defensive line. If they win that matchup, we win this game. I feel strongly about that. If you need me to pick a player, Greg Crippen, who I thought was great calling stuff out. Week 1 Crippen minutes, baby. Give me Greg Crippen here. I need him to be smart. I need him to be the smartest player on either line. Keep Bryce Underwood upright and, call it out. Call out what you're seeing out there. Keep everyone in line. On defense, how about Damon Payne? Ooh. Really liked what I saw rewatching that. He was really excellent good last week. Yes. I thought he outplayed Rayshon Benny.
Yes.
And pressure up the middle is going to be huge. I'm telling you, Morin guy I am doing air quotes, should win more often than not against a freshman tackle and a guy making his first start coming off injury. And the freshman tackle's also coming off injury. Yeah. They've got serious issues going on with their offensive line right now. Derek Moore and TJ Guy, I'm expecting you to win. If Damon Payne's winning up the middle, it's going to be very hard on Mateer. It's going to make things extremely difficult to get any type of rhythm going. You can forget running the ball. If Oklahoma runs the ball well in this game, I'm going to be shocked. If they go over 100 yards, I will be shocked. And, I will take a shot of hot sauce and tequila live on television if they go over $120. Happy to do it.
We're in trouble if they go over $120 running the football.
If they go over $120, I am going to lose my shit. I'm not saying that if they go over 100, because it'll be my luck. They break one in garbage time for 30 yards and get over 100, and then all of a sudden I have to do a shot of hot sauce and tequila. So I'm not doing that. I've changed up my prediction, my friend. I said I reserve the right to based on what I see going on with that offensive line. I like that you went reverse jinx. I'm not changing my prediction. Maybe I think Michigan's going 11-1 now. Maybe they find another loss somewhere in the schedule, but I like this matchup despite the fact that it's in Norman, despite the fact that it's Bryce Underwood against a seasoned defensive coordinator. I just love our defense against their offensive line, and I love the fact that their running game defense is the least worrisome part of their defense right now. Give me Michigan 21, Oklahoma 17, low scoring affair, floppy at times. Michigan does just enough to get it done. Maybe I'll go 24-17 because I keep talking about Zavada, so I need to get a field goal in there.
There
so
we
we'll
go. There's the 8th one.
Yeah. It's actually all field goals. There's no touchdowns there.
The last 2 times I've picked against Michigan were Ohio State last year and the ReliaQuest Bowl. And we know how those turned out.
Keep it up. Yeah.
Come on. So I'm here.
Just pick against us every week then.
Like if this one works, I might just have to keep doing that. It's like, all right, I know it's a long shot, but I got the Chippewas by 10.
The Chippewas by 10 in the big house. I think we're going to struggle. I'm with you.
But I think this game feels like race to 20.
Yeah, 100%. If Michigan gets to 24, I'm going to feel very confident about our chances to win. I don't see anyone getting over 30. If there is, I think that maybe we're going to have some bigger concerns when we podcast the following Thursday to break it, or the following Monday to break it down. But I'm expecting Michigan to come out and play well. Sharon Moore, homecoming for him, going back to Oklahoma. I'm sure he's just absolutely gassed up for this. Side note, did you see any of the pictures of Sharon Moore when he played offensive line there? Good God, what a unit.
I didn't play much. Yeah, big man. Big man playing the reserve guard role. I love that he's in the video, like just a little off to the side of Malcolm Kelly doing the famous freestyle in the locker room after the Big 12 championship.
Tremendous stuff.
It's awesome. I'm putting in the work. I'm doing film study and then I'm doing film study.
That's next level. This man has been breaking down YouTube clips from post-game celebrations.
From like 17 years ago.
PN. Yes, 17 years ago. That is a deep cut, my friend. Yeah, this was fun to break down, dude. I really like this matchup a lot more. There is some areas where they definitely have advantages, and it's not like a shoe-in like that. I think this will be close. I think maybe giving Michigan a 7-point victory is a little bit too much. I think it'll probably be within and maybe have to win this one with a field goal late, but could go either way. It's going to be a tight matchup. As you mentioned, there's not much else going on around the country. All eyes will be on this one. College game day is there. I'm excited. I am amped for this one. Why do you got to make me wait around all day for it?
If this game comes down to the last possession for Michigan, we're going to look back and be so thankful that Chip Lindsey gave Bryce Underwood the green light at the end of the first half against New Mexico.
Great point. Yep. Get that confidence up, man. Doesn't seem like he's a kid that's lacking for confidence.
I wouldn't be either.
No. If I was built like that and given those talents and already getting paid like a professional NFL quarterback, I too would be confident. So let's go get it, young man. Very excited for this one. Before we get out of here, let's look around the country a little bit. Let's look back real quick because I think maybe my best take is currently starting to shape up to be absolutely correct. My take was there's way too much nonsense at University of North Carolina surrounding Bill Belichick for this to go well this year. I think that's my best call of the year. Too much nonsense around Bill Belichick.
I love that it's just based around the term nonsense. We're getting so old. We're talking about 29-year-old coordinators, and you and I are yelling about nonsense.
Yes, I am. There's too much nonsense. His girlfriend was on the sideline, like talking to him during the game. That's nonsense.
That's not great. There is no other word for that. That is nonsense.
His girlfriend, who's got him like trademarking TikTok shit, is over there just being like, hey, make sure to like smile for the cameras and stuff. Like, we are down 24 to TCU. Woman, go sit down.
Nonsense.
Yeah, hot nonsense. Other side of the ball here, other side of the coin. Maybe my worst take if it keeps trending this way. Can Maryland make me look like a fool with a freshman quarterback? I finally got to watch some of that Maryland tape. They might have something there with that young freshman, but granted, it's early season Maryland.
Yeah, it's Malik Washington, very talented. I think it could work out and be the reason that what's their head coach's name? Loxley.
It's
Mike Loxley. Yeah. He could be the reason Mike Loxley keeps his job. So it looks like they at least have the answer to what they were looking for.
Yep, I'm with you. All right, let's look around at some of the other games of the week. Illinois at Duke. Thoughts?
Give me Duke.
You called this one a while back. I'm sticking with the Rib God, baby. Give me Illinois by 3. We'll say 27-24 Illinois.
Yeah, a lot of the lines are 2.5 to 3.5 right now. Very, very tight game.
That's what I anticipate as well. I think I got you last week by getting Auburn and Miami.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. We're not really keeping track, but I'm a competitive human by nature, so I want to beat you even in
That's fair.
the smallest of
That's
things.
fair.
Yeah, the Cyhawk Trophy, baby, Iowa at Iowa State could be a fun one. Where are you going with this?
Give me Iowa. Ferentz hasn't lost in Ames since like 2011. I think I had that stat earlier this year. And Iowa State hasn't won this game by more than 3 points since 2005. So if Iowa State
Insane.
wins, it's going to be very tight. I just think Ferentz has that experience. I think Phil Parker's going to throw some stuff at him. Rocky start to their season from that first quarter, but they even things out, got it going with Gronkowski. So give me Iowa. Tight game, though.
Tight game either way. I'll take Iowa State to be different here because I think it will be so tight. Doesn't happen often that they win back to back. This would be the first time under Matt Campbell that it's happened. But yeah, I'll take Iowa State in this one. Low scoring, close game, 17-14 or some nonsense like that. Yep. Baylor at number 7.
I'm going to ride the underdog again. I'm going to take Baylor. Third straight underdog here. I really like Story Robertson. Even in the loss against Auburn, he put up crazy numbers, threw for over 400 yards in that game. Was not the reason they lost. So if they can just get a pulse from their defense and slow down Kevin Jennings, I think Baylor wins. And they have to win. So I think they have that pressure as well.
They do. And on this one, we are aligned. I'm going to take Baylor in this one as well, taking the underdog against SMU. That Baylor offense is legit, man. They got tools, they got weapons, they got some stuff that they can bring. So I think that they're maybe being undervalued a little bit because of that Auburn loss, but Auburn under Durkin took a big step forward. So I think Baylor's going to rebound this week. South Florida at Florida.
You know, if South Florida hadn't blown out Boise last week, they might be able to sneak up on the Gators and get them in the swamp. But I'm going to take Florida. I don't know if they cover it 17.5. I think it could be closer than that, but I'm going to take Lagway.
Yeah, I'm taking Florida in this one. I don't know about the cover. I'm staying away from that, but Florida's going to win in the swamp. First time in quite some time that all three of the major Florida teams are ranked in week 2. So they're loving it down there in a pretty terrible state for football, if I have to be honest, having lived there for a couple of years. But good for them. Swamp's a tough place to play when it's rocking, though.
Yeah.
Kansas at Missouri. I think Missouri's favored by like a little less than a touchdown in this. Yeah. Where are you going?
Give me Bo Pribula. Give me Missouri at home in this one. I like Jalen Daniels a lot, but Pribula looked really good in that offense. I like Missouri's head coach. So give me tight game. I think Kansas covers.
Yeah, I had this one really tight as well. So to be different, I'll go with Kansas. I do love me some Jalen Daniels, and he's got quite a rapport building with Cam Pickett there. So I'll go Kansas, but yeah, tight game. And it wouldn't surprise me if Missouri put belt to ass in this one. And then Pribula is going to get some national attention because he looked really good in week 1. Last one here, Boston College at Michigan State.
Michigan State. It feels like you and I have been like Michigan State defenders compared to some others, really because we pay attention to what's going on with this program. But Jonathan Smith has them all rowed in the same direction, man. I think that's half the battle. They should have won this game last year, but Tommy Football took it away from them. I think at home they get it done and they cover the 4.5.
Not buying Boston College's 56-point win over the Fordham Rams.
You know I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that either. I don't know what to make of Boston College, but I think Michigan State's one of the more improved programs. They're not like elite at anything yet, but they're also just not terrible at anything either. Yeah. So I think that they're a really well-rounded team, and I'll take Michigan State. I don't think they're going to blow them out or anything, but I could see 24 to 17,
something like that.
Another take, an early season take. Defense has caught back on. The scores just look to be down a lot. When you get two competent programs, scores are looking a little bit down because I was expecting some bigger scores with some of the quarterbacks, but defenses are also really improving just as a general kind of college football thing. Not in every instance, but so I'm picking some lower scores.
Yeah, defenses are typically more ahead this time of the year, but as it pertains to the big games last week, you're dead on. You look at Clemson, LSU, that was a rock fight. You look at, obviously, the eyesore of Ohio State, Texas. All of us are looking forward to this game. The whole world is watching Lee Corso's final college game day. Leads into this game, and it's just two toddlers throwing turds at each other. It's this sucks. Just a terrible game. But yeah, you kind of see it across the landscape. A lot of games are kind of down, so it'd be interesting to see if the offensive bounce back or if this is just going to be a trend this year.
Yeah. Yep. 100% with you, man. This was a fun discussion, brother. It gets real this weekend. I cannot wait. Group text is going to be popping off as we break down everything or analyze everything. We will be back, of course, Monday and Thursday. We want to go live next week, boys? Live on Thursday? What do we think? I think we got it in us. I love it. Yeah, what do you want to say? 7:30 Eastern on Thursday?
7:30 Eastern.
Sound about
Thursday?
right?
Sounds good. Do that.
Sounds about right. All right. We will let you know. We will be on Twitter. Speaking of Twitter and social media, last week to get in on the Aiden Hutchinson giveaway, share our stuff. No one has run away with this thing yet. We have a leader in the clubhouse. We will announce on the Monday Oklahoma Breakdown podcast. Hopefully we're in a good mood. I certainly expect to be, regardless, but hopefully celebrating a win. Excited, man. This feels like we're really in it now. New Mexico was it wet my whistle, but now I'm ready to drink from the fire hose.
You really saved that one for me. Yeah, man. I can't wait.
Anything else from you before we get out of here, brother?
No, man. Let's wrap it up.
Let's do it. Thanks to producer Tony doing some great work out there. Make sure you like, share, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on YouTube. Please go and subscribe. We're on YouTube. Every podcast going up on YouTube. Tony doing great work there. I am Jared. That's Andy. This is Out of the Blue. We'd like to remind you that wherever you go blue.
False sense of the loyalty